Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Who's going to do it? Someone's got to do it. Who is going to stop Manchester City? Because we cannot have a situation where, imagine if Manchester City won the treble. They won the FA Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League when they've got all these charges hanging over them. It would make a mockery of the world of football that they can't actually... And look, you know, I think for City fans, they'll probably love it. But also, would you not rather do that without those charges hanging over you? We're in this ridiculous situation where it's very hard to like Man City at the best of times as a Man United fan, I'll admit. But I don't even like watching them at the moment. I find, you know, people last night all over social media going, oh, was it a penalty, this, that and the other, 7-0. I'm like, well, for one, I can't go near another 7-0 for a while. And for two, I just don't like watching Man City at all. I'm sure everybody else is of the same opinion, but those charges, it's not one or two, there's bloody loads of them. And we've always suspected they were up to something with their revenue that makes no sense. I mean, they put a light show on. I'm not kidded by that light show, by the way. You know that light show that they put on the Champions League nights where it's all dark and then there's blue flashing lights? It's not because it's a good light show. It's to stop you seeing how many fans there are there. There's nobody there. It's all a light show so they can pretend, our revenue is bigger than Real Madrid and Man United, but let's cover up that no one's here so that because people don't go, how are they making the money when there's no fans there? That light show is just deceptive. It's just, you know, you'll have a fit if you try and focus in on fans. It's like, well, what's going on? What's going on? It's like being at a rave in the late 90s. But look, I think that I find Man City, it's a personal thing. Nothing against Man City fans, nothing against Man City Football Club. It is what it is. But I find it very difficult to watch or respect them when you've got so many charges against you for things that people always felt were a little bit dodgy anyway. So the credibility of Man City is out the window, I think, for a lot of people in football at the moment. However, you still get this, you know, fun fest of, oh, Man City are amazing, they're amazing, they're amazing. Look at Man City, they're so amazing. And I think a lot of people are sat there going, but maybe they're amazing because they broke all the rules. So you almost don't... I suppose it's your mindset, isn't it? It's like, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you've got a new Ferrari on the drive, but you know your mate's nicked it for you and the police are coming round in a couple of days. Do you enjoy that Ferrari? You know, it's like, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Some people can just deal with it. I just think that with Man City at the moment, it would be completely horrible for a Man United fan if they were to win 3 Premier Leagues in a row like we did, or if they were to win a treble like we did. But for them to do it with that cloud of uncertainty and potential cheating hanging over them, I think it makes a mockery of football. So I think we're in a position where you've got one job, Man United, win the FA Cup. You've got one job, Arsenal, win the Premier League. And you've got one job, Napoli, Bayern, Real Madrid, Chelsea, or anybody else, stop Man City winning the Champions League, because I just don't want to see it happening. And maybe I'm in the minority, maybe I'm in the majority, but it's an honest opinion. Like I said, I can understand that, you know, it's not Man City fans' fault. You know, they're going to love it. They probably go, let the haters hate and all that nonsense. But deep down, you know, they don't know how that case is going to go. It's, you know, that's their problem to deal with. But I don't see why the rest of football should have to deal with them winning major trophies with such a huge uncertainty hanging over them. And as I said, it's not like they forgot to tie the shoelaces. The charges will directly link to titles and the position they're in now. It's basically those charges are manipulation of revenue streams to buy players that have allowed them to win titles. So it's, you know, it would be cheating if they've done it, and we've got to say innocent until proven guilty, of course. But those charges are, if guilty, have a massive impact on everything that Man City's done for the last however many years. So please, I want somebody to stop them from winning. But I want somebody to stop them from winning anyway. I mean, I want Arsenal to win the Premier League. I was at Cheltenham Races yesterday speaking to people, and there were a lot of people were saying to me, how as a Man United fan can you want Arsenal to win the league? And I said, but at the end of the day, it's a choice between two shit sandwiches, really. Ultimately, I can't walk away and just go, I don't care. Because actually, I have a preference, even though it's disgusting to me, and I'm sure Arsenal fans and Liverpool fans would feel the same if you gave them the two options. But, you know, maybe it's different for them. But for us Man United fans, our biggest and most credible Premier League rivalry in Premier League history was Arsenal. That was the best rivalry we had. Wenger against Sir Alex. It was an amazing Premier League era, and there is a big, deep history between Arsenal and Manchester United in the Premier League. And yeah, of course, there's a rivalry there. With Manchester City, it's not even for me. It's not even the City rivalry. It's the fact that they're going to win 3 in a row, which no one's done apart from us. So look, I don't want City to win this league. I want Arsenal to win it. I'm not buying an Arsenal shirt. Like that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a preference here, and I would rather Arsenal win it. And I'd rather Arsenal win it because they're a better footballing side. They're a better side. They play better football, and also they're the underdog. Like they haven't got. I mean, we're going back to the same thing again, aren't we? They're not going for 3 titles in a row. They're not super wealthy. They haven't got a bench full of first teamers that would actually probably come second in the league as well. Arsenal are the underdog, and they're the better side. At this point in time, they deserve to win it, and I hope they can stay the course because, I'm a firm believer that the best side deserves to win the league, and the best side is Arsenal. But obviously, it's not in the bag yet. I hope they can do it. I really hope they can do it. I want them to do it, and the motivation has to be there for Arsenal. But I think there's a lot of fans like myself who want them to get over the line and win it and stop Man City. I truly do believe that. Man United, look, the FA Cup is the lowest hanging fruit there, but we've got to do our job. We've got to stop them in that. And then in the Champions League, well, Man City have never won the Champions League, so I hope that somewhere along the line it's the quarterfinals next, isn't it? I hope they're not going to pull out, Benfica or something like that. No disrespect to Benfica, but Real Madrid won the Champions League last year by playing somebody hard every round. I hope Man City, if they're going to get to the final, they don't do it the breezy, easy way. I want them to face difficult opposition. But yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know what anybody else thinks. It's just something that's been. I'll be honest. I've said it on That's Football. Look, I find it very, very difficult to watch Man City at the moment. I found it difficult anyway, but that's because they were so good and dominant, and it's a bit boring. But I do find it difficult. I don't know what anybody else feels, but I find it very, very difficult, and I wish. Look, if Man City get found not guilty, they're not guilty. Like, whether people like that or not, if they're not guilty, they're not guilty. And all their titles and all their money, you've just got to go, well, look, it is what I always thought it was. Almost fair play to them. They won the lottery. They were a nothing club. This rich owners came in. They've shown how you can take a club like Jack Walker did with Blackburn Rovers, and like Abramovich did with Chelsea, and like Saudi Arabia are going to do with Newcastle. It's not impossible what Manchester City have done. It's not impossible to go from being a nothing club in relation to winning titles if you've got loads and loads of money. And Man City were, at that time, had a lot more money than anyone else. If that's the truth, then that is the truth. I'm not sitting here saying that they're definitely guilty. That's not what anybody can say. But it is hanging over them at the moment. And I had a Man City fan messaging me saying this could take years. Well, that's not good for anybody. Because everyone thinks Man City cheats now, or even if they don't, they can just use it as banter. And Man City fans are in this position where they're probably quite confident that they'll get off with it because they've got a lot of money they can throw at it. But ultimately, 2 + 2 sometimes equals 4. Like I say, that their revenue. I'll always say this: how can Manchester City's revenue be more than Man United's? It doesn't make any sense. How can it be more than Man United's or Liverpool's or anybody else's? It doesn't make sense. Where are you making that revenue from? You don't have the fan base of Liverpool or Man United or Arsenal. So how are you making... You don't fill your ground up like Man United does, and we've got more capacity. How are you making this revenue? Why would a brand give Man City more money than they give Man United or Liverpool when you haven't got the fan base that we've got or the reach that we've got? These are questions that a lot of people have been asking, but... If you can't prove guilt, you can't prove guilt. But we do need to get to a point where that's concluded as quickly as possible. But obviously, it won't be concluded quickly because Man City will deny it, and then it will go to court, and then it will go, lost in appeal. It could go on for years and years. I suppose some people would say, well, I wish it wasn't happening. But if it doesn't happen, then, we never know what happened. But it is a problem. Some people don't have an issue with it. For me, I just find it very difficult. And I think there's a lot of people I've spoken to who find it very difficult to, really applaud and celebrate something that there's a big question mark over at the moment. And, the sooner we know, the better what's happening with that. Some people think they'll get kicked out of the bloody kicked down to the Championship. I don't know what the punishment would be if they got found guilty, but I mean, the punishment almost is irrelevant to me. It's just whether they've done it or not. We need to know. Anyway, let's hope somebody can stop them. Before, I mean, look, if they get found not guilty, go and win the league for all I care. But at the moment, I just find it a bit difficult. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash the like on the video. Make sure you subscribe.